North Reading, an organization that every year conducts a study that is timely, significant, and relevant to the community. This year we decided, especially with a media focus on youth violence, to focus on North Reading and youth violence in the local communities. We thought the subject warranted further attention locally. We're delighted that both the North Reading Police Department as well as the North Reading School Department shared our concerns and joined with us in collaborating and putting together tonight's event. Over the next hour and a half, we hope to accomplish the following three objectives. First of all, we wish to develop community awareness of youth violence. Secondly, we'd like to explain which programs have been initiated thus far. And finally, we'd like to allow participants to share their concerns and direct questions to the panel members here tonight. This evening's event is being taped by Media One and will be rebroadcasted tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock on Channel 22. With that, I'd like to turn the program over to our moderator, Lisa Macario. Lisa is the coordinator of victim advocacy within the North Reading Police Department. She's been with the department 3 years, and she's been working with victims of violence for over 10 years. Lisa? I'm sure with that.
I'd like to thank you all for coming, as I'd like to thank the panelists for being here. And it's my pleasure to be moderating this panel tonight. I'd like to introduce to you our panelists individually, and then we're going to give each panelist about 5 to 10 minutes to make a presentation. And at that point, we'll open it up to questions. I have a few questions that have been handed to me on index cards. And I will ask them intermittently, and you're more than welcome to raise your hands and ask questions and address it to the specific panelist if that's what you'd like to do, or just open it up to the whole panel. My first panelist I'd like to introduce is Dr. David Troughton. He has served as our superintendent since 1994. His 25 years in education include work with students, school staff, parents, communities, as an assistant superintendent, director of curriculum, junior, senior high school, associate principal, and high school teacher in Chelmsford, Millsbury, West Boylston, and Linfield. Really proud to have him as our superintendent. We also have Ms. Sandra Washburn. Sandra comes to us from the Attorney General's office. She's the Senior Regional Coordinator of Mediation Services for the Attorney General's office. She oversees a program named SCORE in the northeastern area of the state. She's coordinated several interventions for the State Conflict Intervention Team. She's developed and conducted mediation training and workshops for youth and adults, the former director of community mediation for the Urban Mediation Project in Dorchester, and former board member of NAMPP, which I don't know what that means, Sandra, and mediator since 1984 and mediation trainer since 1986. We also have Mr. Ron Palulo. He is the Director of Pupil Services for North Reading. He has been a resident of North Reading and an employee of the school department for over 30 years. Over that period, he has been a teacher, a school counselor, and an administrator. We also have Ms. Ellen Connaughton. Excuse me. I have to shift papers. Ellen Connaughton has coordinated the violence prevention and intentional injury for the Massachusetts Department of Public Health since 1996. She holds a Master's of Social Work specializing in management and policy of child welfare programs and child development. Prior to joining DPH, she worked as a teacher, a counselor, advocate, trainer, and manager in not-for-profit and government programs addressing violence, education, health, and human services. And lastly, but not least, Lieutenant Ed Nolan. Lieutenant Nolan, as you all know, works for our police department. He's been responsible for $1.4 million in grants which have dealt with the social concerns of community. He has dedicated 2 officers to the schools for violence prevention programs. He has been appointed to the Attorney General's Task Force on Hate Crimes. He's been appointed to the District Attorney's Advisory Committees for the Secure and Reach programs dedicated to the coordination of programs preventing school violence. Excuse me. He has recently has a new appointment as the commander for the Northeastern Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council. He's also on the board for a STARS committee, which is School Threat Assessment Response System. That is our panel. And Dr. Trogan, would you like to begin?
Actually, I'm going to turn this over. We're going to begin our panel presentation on the issue of youth violence as a community issue. We thought that we begin with the larger context of the state and then come down to our own community here in North Reading. So I'm going to turn it over to Sandra.
Thank you. It's working okay. Can you hear me? No?
I don't think it's I don't think it's try that.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me if I just talk? Can you hear me? People back there, can you hear me okay? Wow. Good acoustics in this room. I work for the Attorney General's office, and I'm going to share some good news with you about some things that are happening in the state with young people and what they're doing in their own schools to prevent and help other students who are involved in conflict. The program, we have 2 programs dealing with youth at the Attorney General's office. The first that I'm going to talk about is SCORE. That stands for Student Conflict Resolution Experts. And what SCORE is a peer mediation program. How many people here know anything about mediation? What that is? Okay. So what we do is we train students to be neutrals, to be mediators, and to help resolve conflict between their peers. The program began in 1989. There were 2 pilot programs that we started, and the programs were so successful that currently we have 26 programs throughout the state, going as far west as Pittsfield. We have programs in Boston. We have programs in this area. I happen to oversee the northeast region of the state. And the way the model of the SCORE program works is our office, folks in my department, we're all mediators. None of us are attorneys. And we've been in the field for a long time. And our way of thinking and our training is in conflict resolution. So we provide technical assistance to local programs, community mediation programs, which in turn provide assistance to schools. A full-time person is hired with the help of grants to work in a targeted school to help to set up a peer mediation program. So there's a full-time supervisor, coordinator, and then student mediators. Students are selected not based on good grades or being high performers, but kids who really are a cross-section of the school. If there's a lot of ethnic groups in the school, you try to get kids from all those groups. You try to get boys as well as girls, different grade levels. Kids with what we call negative leaders, kids who are sometimes on the wrong side of things, can often become some of the best mediators. And so those are the kinds of kids we train to be mediators. They receive intensive training, over 20 to 25 hours of training before they start mediating cases. Types of cases they mediate are anything from rumors to racial incidents to large groups that are about to have a beef to friends, all kinds of things. In 1999, over the 10-year span from 1989 to 1999, 13,800 cases were mediated. So these are students going to mediation to resolve their conflicts. And of those cases, 97% of them were settled through mediation. So the students going through the process of mediation have been very successful themselves in using the opportunity to talk things out rather than fighting them out, to work out their problem and have come to solutions that have been lasting. So that's SCORE. The other thing that we do in our office, which is really in response to an incident that took place several years ago in a school, a large racial incident that involved about 100 students, that actually closed the school down. Our office got involved and there was a decision made to try to use mediation to resolve this conflict. The school was unable to reopen until things were straightened out because there was a lot of fear. The police had been involved and some kids got hurt, and it was a pretty tense situation. So at that time, we recruited adult mediators from the community mediation field to come in to the schools and to help resolve the disputes that led to the conflict, this huge conflict. And there were several one-on-one disputes and then a large mediation involving 60 students. That was very successful. The school was able to reopen peacefully. So what we've done as a result of our success with that is we've developed a capacity to provide mediation services to schools in crisis. Schools that may have a larger conflict going on and may need some kind of intervention on an emergency basis. Hopefully before there's been a real fight among the kids. And so far we've done 24 of these interventions.